Hello, 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 Facebook family and friends. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is well. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great Monday. I think there's a change in Facebook's system. So I'm just going to continue on. It looks a little different because normally you see the live button and then you see people popping on. But now it says a little button that says friends. So maybe they changed the software. It is what it is. So I'll keep speaking. If not, I'll have to redo this again. So this is welcome to Wisdom Walk number 85. Wisdom Walk number 85. Knowledge is power. Or is it? And very, very interesting statement because for my whole life, I've heard that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Well, I don't believe that. I believe knowledge is information. Knowledge is not power. The execution of knowledge is where the power comes from. So you can have knowledge, all the knowledge in the world. But if you're not executing that knowledge, if you know that the knowledge of smoking cigarettes can cause cancer and change your life to the negative, and that's the knowledge. But if you don't execute the fact that you don't smoke, then what's the knowledge? What difference does it make? The knowledge doesn't matter. So whatever you learn or whatever you think is just knowledge. But the execution of that knowledge is what moves the world, is what changes your life, what changes everything. So we go through life as you've gone through all the different wisdom walks I've done. And starting from wisdom walk like 1, 2, 3, 4. One of my favorite ones is when you were a baby and you're looking for shiny little objects. I think that's when the knowledge starts. So you start learning certain things in life. And as we go through life, our knowledge becomes better and better. We learn new things. We see new things. We understand new things. We get new information constantly. Our brain absorbs all of this, and all this knowledge comes to us. But if you don't execute it, it's just taking up space in your brain. It's just taking up space in your head. It does nothing. I will give you a perfect example. And the cigarette example is kind of, you got the point. But I'll give you a perfect example. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I got a whole bunch of new knowledge. And that knowledge has been out there for some people. Mainly the bankers know it. Few of society know it. But when I found out, I had a choice. I can either keep the knowledge in my brain, taking up space, or execute it. And I found out when you look at your mortgage statement and you think that you're paying 2%, 3%, 4%, or whatever you're paying, because that's what they want you to think, and you look at your paperwork and you pull it out and you do the math is you're really paying 90%, 110%, a larger percentage. So the knowledge of that is great. So what do I have to do now that I have that knowledge? I have to execute something to stop the banks from taking advantage of me, which I've done. So again, the knowledge is great, but the execution of that knowledge is what changes your life. So for example, my wisdom walk right now, and because I have to get my heart rate up for 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, and because of that, it makes you healthier. Maybe it gives you a little bit longer life, gets your blood flowing. So we all know that exercise is good for us. That's the knowledge. But if you're not exercising, that's not executing. So what good is knowing exercise is good for you if you don't exercise? It's real simple. So now that I've cleared that up, now I'm going to give you some knowledge of the world and your life. And we have all seen this, all been part of it. Many of you have listened to many of my wisdom walks, and you've gotten a lot of knowledge from my wisdom walks. But have you executed? And what haven't you executed? If you were honest with yourself and you go back to any of the 84 wisdom walks that I've done previous to this, you pick one of the topics, one of the situations, and you find out if you took that knowledge and you executed. And if you executed it, there was a change. A change happened. Something happened in your life to make it better based on that execution that you did. So, perfect example. I don't know if it's me walking for the last, 6 months to a year, doing better activity. Maybe it could be the fact I don't have stress. But when I went to my doctor's appointment, last year I would have more doctor's appointments I've probably ever had in my life, because after doing the full body scan, I wanted to know, as I'm getting up there in age, I wanted to know how everything is, how every part of my body is. So the body scan came out really good. So the doctor wanted to check my heart, and he said there's different ratings. There's a 50, 55, and 65. I think I have the numbers right. He said 50, yeah, we gotta make some changes. 55, you're really, really doing good. And 65, on the count, you're phenomenal, is the word he used. And I got a rating of 65. So I have to wonder, I knew exercise, walking, like I'm doing right now, makes a difference in the blood flow in your heart. So I had that knowledge, and I executed it by doing what I'm doing right now, and there's a result. So the result is a great report from my doctor. He says, whatever you're doing, keep doing. So I appreciate that. So now you have to decide what knowledge you get from the world, either from my wisdom walks or from anything else that works, that you've heard, that you've learned, that makes sense to you. And instead of just absorbing it in your brain, you do an execution and you execute it. So today, I'm going to give you an execution, I'm going to give you knowledge of probably every aspect of your being, every aspect of your life that can change everything. And you'll hear some of it I've already said before, but I'm going to break this one down pretty simple and basic so you get it. And then what you do with it after you finish watching this video is strictly up to you. Or this live is strictly up to you. So, a few things I know is, number one, we all need food, shelter, and clothing to be part of this world. Some of us had some knowledge and we did some executions. Some of you have better jobs than others that pay more, so you get to live in a nicer community, get to eat better food, get to wear nicer clothing. Some people don't. What's the difference between the person that doesn't have those things versus someone that has them? I think it has to do with their execution of the knowledge they know. Now, it's not anyone's fault if they don't have the right knowledge in order to execute to get the results that we're looking for. So you can't blame someone that's in a position, again, I'm not stereotyping anyone or making any claims of what my beliefs are with someone's income. But if someone's making $3,000 a month and someone's making $30,000 a day, what's the difference between those two people? And the difference probably is the knowledge that they have and the execution of the knowledge that they possess, they put forth. So if they put forth the execution, then all of a sudden they're $30,000 a day. Now, some of you may think that is a ridiculous amount of certain things in life to make more money than a person working harder. I can assure you one thing that I know for a fact. My income is larger when I work less than when I work more. Let me repeat that. My income is larger when I work less or don't work at all versus when I had a job working more, because of something called leverage. Okay, sorry I lost you guys here for a while. Bad signal, but I'm back. So I left off with leveraging. So the leverage and that I've done in the last 3 to 4 years of my life has afforded me to have a better financial picture than when I had a corporate job working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. But again, that's something that you'll have to execute once you get that knowledge. And that knowledge is in many, 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 many of my wisdom walks. So let's break it down to the small fundamentals that you will need in order to have the knowledge. I'm going to give you the knowledge right now, and whatever you decide to execute is up to you. So number one, the first set of knowledge you need to have is you need to have the right mindset. And you have to have the right mindset on things that you probably don't understand or have never been told before. And where can you go get that mindset? Very simple. I have collected decades upon decades of information and knowledge that I've put into one place on our website. You will go to nvsocial.group, and all the knowledge you'll need for mindset training will be on our Facebook group once you join the group, and you kind of listen to the first 15, 20 minutes of me explaining why we're doing what we're doing. So you now have the knowledge. What you do with that, that's up to you. So that's nvsocial.group, and you go listen to a 17-minute video of why and how we're doing this, and then it explains what you need to do. So again, you can get the knowledge, you can listen to video and do nothing, and then nothing happens. So that knowledge that you'll be getting, you get 100% for free. I do not charge. It's my pay it forward. It's decades upon decades upon decades upon decades of my personal experiences, 2 billionaire experiences that mentored me, and many other people with massive successes that you will find in our mindset training courses, okay, which is a no-brainer. Then once you're in the mindset training situation, now you have to put yourself in a financial position to earn income. Now, whether you're doing that at a job, your own business, or something I can show you how to generate massive amount of income if you decide to want to take money out the market. I do that. I trade on my own. I trade gold, and I have, as you can look on my page, you'll see some of my documentation beats conversation. And again, once you get that knowledge, you have to either execute it or leave it alone. That's up to you. Then probably the most important one is the knowledge of why the entire country lives paycheck to paycheck and is in debt. Why people pay for these beautiful homes like that, and they are 30 years on these mortgages, paying 120%, 130%, 90%, 80% interest rate on this. And if you don't believe me, I'll just give you the quick facts. If you finance $500,000 on a loan, your payment's about $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month times 12 months is $36,000 a year. $36,000 a year times 10 years is $360,000 for 10 years. Times 3, since this is 30 years, is about just over $1 million. Hello, how are you? Just over $1 million. And you finance $500,000. So let's think about this for a second. If I loaned you $100 and you paid me back $200, How much interest did I charge you? 100%. So if you finance $500,000 and you paid the bank back 1 point something million dollars, 1.1, you just paid over 100% interest. So I don't care what your piece of paper says that you signed a 2.5%, 3.5%, 4.5% interest rate. It's all a scam. It's all BS. So that's the knowledge I'm giving you. Whatever you want to do to execute it, that's up to you. So the execution, how to fix that, is to lower the amount of interest that you pay. And fortunately for me, on February 28, 2024, I was blessed by God to give me that information to show me how I can eliminate interest from my life. What a beautiful thing. And that allows you to now be debt-free in a matter of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. If you add a couple other elements to it, you could be down to 2 years, 3 years. A couple of my friends are down to 1.75%, 1.75 years, 1.9 years, 2.3 years, instead of 40, 50, 60 years. Because that's the bondage that we're put into this country that people don't understand, because that knowledge is not taught in school. That knowledge is not given to us freely. That knowledge is kept for the elite and for the wealthy. Well, no more elite wealthy club. I'll be shouting from a mountaintop and letting everybody know that there's choices for you to get out of that bondage. And I will ask all of you to pay it forward and continue that message as you become debt-free, as you become in that situation where you don't have to worry about working. In fact, I spoke to a friend of mine a few days ago, and she's 58 years old, and they just bought their first house. And she said, wow, I just realized that I'll be 88 when I pay it off. I hope I live long enough to pay it off. And I went, wow, that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Think about it. She'll be 88. She'll never pay off the house. But that's what the bank wants to do, because the bank wants to take all her hard-earned income, all our hard-earned money, and put it in their pocket. This is why people like Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase, makes $35 million a year plus stock options, and why he lives in his penthouse and drives and has his yacht or whatever other toys he has with his $35 million a year salary, because he's taking all that extra interest of that 100%, 110%, 120% that we're paying, telling us we're paying 2.75% and we're not. So I told my friend, I said, well, don't worry about it. At 58 years old, if you follow the knowledge and you execute the knowledge I just gave you, and you execute the knowledge I just gave you, you'll be debt-free and your house will be paid off by the time you're 64, 65 years old, max. And that gave her a whole sense of security, a whole sense of anxiety left her body. She was excited. She felt like, oh my goodness, I have time now. So now when that's done, I can now start paying myself. So think about this for a minute. If you put yourself in a position to be debt-free, you put yourself in a position where you don't have any more bills, what happens to all that money? Now you get to put it into, now let me give you another piece of knowledge. You get to put it into something called an IUL, which happens to be tax-free when you take it out. Life insurance covers you for medical illnesses or whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, this stuff is so easy. I mean, we have this thing down. It's like, at first, when I was a baby, I would crawl on the floor looking for that shiny object. Then one day you start walking, you stumble, you hit your foot, you fall down, you cry, your parents kind of console you or whatever. So I kind of look at this, look, I'm not your parent, I'm not your daddy, but I can console you for all the things that you've been through in life. I can console you for the loss of a family member or a divorce. All that stuff is in my wisdom walks. And it's just picking you up like your parents did, dusting you off and saying, nope, continue walking. And then when your parents did that, and then all of a sudden you stop falling. Now you're no longer walking, now you're running. Yeah, when you start running, you'll probably fall a little bit, or you start riding a bike or doing all the different things. And then what you have that support system that tells you keep going. Hopefully you do. You have the right parents to support you. And then all of a sudden you become a citizen of the United States or whatever country you're in, and now you're doing good in your community and you're living your life and you're going forward. Unfortunately, they don't give us the information to keep us to make us be debt free, to make us be able to live our life on our own terms, to make us put ourselves in a position where we can not be in debt, make us where we're not paying every single day and worry about where this bill is coming from this bill. They don't teach you that, but I do. Envy Social does. I'm going to show you exactly what the bankers don't want you to know, exactly how the wealthy live, exactly how you do this, where you get to wake up every single morning and live life on your own terms. But the only way that can happen is I can give you all the knowledge in the world. I can give you all this knowledge. But if you don't execute it, it means nothing. It just takes up space in your head, in your brain. It just holds on to that information. That's all it does. It just backs up that information, and then it is what it is. And you did nothing about it, so guess what happens? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So you didn't venture to go out there and make those moves. I remember making some moves when I started getting some knowledge a few years ago. And yeah, I got spanked. Some of these crypto companies and crypto scenarios, they promised the world, but I'm so glad I went through them because I learned a whole bunch of knowledge from it. And some of them were big losses, some of them weren't, some of them stole our money, some of them didn't. But all that information, just like falling down when you're walking and bumping your knee as a baby or a toddler on the coffee table and hurting and rubbing it, and all of that is part of life to put you to where you are today, as long as you use the knowledge to grow. So I've used all that knowledge, and as you guys can see, every single day I live life on my own terms. I don't have to go to work. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have a business to run. It is what it is, because I've put myself in that position with the knowledge that I know. So up to you what you do with this information. Up to you what you decide to do with this information. And you can keep the knowledge in your head, or you can go execute it. It is 100% up to you to make that decision and go out there and live your life on your own terms. Love you all. This is my Pay It Forward, and I hope you pay it forward once you get this knowledge and you execute it to your friends and family, and we go make the world a better place. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.